Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining this space with me. If you're here, it means that something I've said or shared has struck you in some way or another, and I'd like to use this space to maybe deepen that connection a little bit and to introduce myself and maybe generate a little bit of trust and again a deeper understanding connection between the two of us so that we can actually perhaps walk together on this journey of life, right? Um, as you know, I speak a lot about like mental health and depression, anxiety. And I don't come from a place of like I don't have a doctorate or a diploma. I didn't study this stuff, But like I know I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, general anxiety, depression, psychosis. I I'm blessed. I'm super blessed because from a young age, I grew up in Africa and Australia, South America. I live here in Costa Rica. I've been exposed to the world, and my parents always exposed me and allowed me to have an open mind. But I've always been, curious and asking deeper questions about life. When they asked you, like, what do you want to be when you're older? It was like, well, I don't know who I am today. What am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. But who am I now? What am I now? What are you going to do with your life? It's like, well, I don't know what life is. And my life, like, I feel like more like I'm part of life. And what does life want of me, And these questions have always guided my path and developed who I am. And they've taken me to incredible realizations and places, but they've also taken me to some, like, I know hell, man. I know hell. And I'm blessed because I see that this was all an initiatic path in a way, because I've come out with an understanding, a coherence within myself, and a vision that I feel like many people could benefit from. I'm not here to tell you how to live life, and there's no manual book and how to get out of depression. This is not a how to get out of depression, and this is not what I offer. I offer to inspire a new vision of life and to light a flame of searching and of wonder at the mystery and the potential that we each carry within us, that it doesn't cure depression, but it puts it in its place. It might take it away because it might not have a role anymore, but it can be seen from a different angle, where it's there with a message, or as a way for one to understand himself more, to strengthen himself more, because it takes strength, courage, to hold this darkness, to open to it, and to realize that we are still greater than it, and it has a place within this greater being that we are. This process of expansion that we all seek requires going into the darkness, requires our roots going deep. It's not a let's go to the sky and never return. It's like, no, let's expand, let's go to the center of the earth too, because that's where diamonds are made as well, right? And so this is the kind of the path that I want to share with you, is how, there's a lot of practical elements, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's physical, and in the end, it's really there to open our eyes, to awaken us to what I call the real world. We spend so much time living through ideologies, belief systems, stories that we have of ourselves. We spend our time manipulating this external environment to fit our needs or to make us feel a certain way. And in the end, we're a slave to whatever happens inside us, because we don't know how to manage it. We don't understand it. We're scared of it half the time. And what happens inside us is a slave to everything that happens outside us. And so we are in this line of slavery, and it turns us into automatic, manipulable, reactionary, lost, confused, divided, lack of energy, dissipated things. And it's part of what we are and what we can hold within ourselves, but our potential goes towards a state of unity, an individual, indivisible, right? A self that can start bringing these pieces together to create a mosaic, to create a harmony, and to create a sense of freedom, right? Authenticity, the power to be yourself, to align your own energies, to not be a slave to your energies, but to use them to get you where you want to be, to deepen your understanding and the wonder and the mystery of and blessing of this existence and this incredible universe, planet, place that we've been blessed to enter, and to start aligning ourselves with this greater purpose that we carry, right? And it's a fascinating path for me, because yeah, it doesn't necessarily, let's get rid of depression to me shows, why limit ourselves to that? Like, let's try to understand and to grow so that we can really find some kind of sovereignty in our being, find some deeper purpose. That's not, we're multidimensional beings. We might have a purpose as a father, in this career, or, as this and that. But deeper than that, we're also a product of life itself, and there's an organic alignment that puts into use all of our past life experiences, all of these what may seem like disconnected pieces, but they're all there to put us to do what we're supposed to do, to be who we are, and to discover and to live the experiences that we're here to experience. And so if we can put these pieces together, and if we have the strength, the courage, and the humility to like open and to enter the real world, and to let go of a lot of these illusions that separate us from each other, that separate us from ourselves, we can get to a place of real freedom, of real love, real gratitude, not forced, like genuine from the core of our being, and that comes from an understanding, from a real experience that we've had for ourselves, right? Direct experience that leads to understanding, transformation, love, freedom. The freedom to be here now, the freedom to be yourself, the freedom to do what you want to do and to live what you want to live, and again, like, as we grow, we're no longer slaves of desires of what we want to do. We become of service. We become of service to something higher, and we gain freedom from servitude, from being de servicio, not as a slave, but as an agent of nature, of God, of our higher self, and this leads us to, eventually to life itself, to eternal life, to the greatest mysteries of the planet, which are eternal. And we enter this river flow state between us and life that creates a place where, man, there's a lot less confusion, right? There's a lot less depression, and there's a lot less mental health issues, because these are not just pathologies. They are a product of a disconnected sense of self, a disconnected idea, history, stories, belief systems, habits, slavery, a lack of capacity to change and to direct. And of course we're going to be depressed and lose our minds. In fact, the fact we haven't all gone completely berserk and crazy shows the resilience of our nervous system and our body. And so realigning ourselves with our real potential as souls, as creators, is more the space that I want to create. And I have my role, but I also, have the vision of creating a space where we can all guide each other, because I have my little taste of medicine, I love the saying that, like, the cure comes from the venom, and I've had my dark, and I've been able to pull out the medicine from it, and everybody has theirs. And I think we can all collaborate and co-create in a space where everybody brings to the table their little piece of medicine. I think this is that we're entering a natural co-creative flow, as opposed to an artificial, competitive, extractive, degenerative personality, humanity, society. So if there's anything that I've said here that speaks to you, I invite you to reach out. I'm open, I'm flexible, and I really look forward to walking the path, our paths together, if that's possible.